Now let's talk a little bit about Google Classroom. So Google Classroom you can get to from your Drive. Just go to the waffle and scroll down to Classroom. And then you'll notice also that the URL is just classroom.google.com. So this is a list of all the classes that I am either teacher of or a student in. And this little guy right here shows me that I am a student in this class. And so I know that I'm a teacher in the rest of them. To join a class, you just click the plus sign and click join class. And you'll need the class code from the teacher. Or to create a class, you just click create. So I'm going to call this test class. And then it will create my Google Classroom for me immediately. If I don't want to use this picture, I can click select theme and just pick whatever fits my class. And it changes just like that. So this code right here is the code that you would need to give students if they wanted to join your classroom. So they would click the plus sign and then type that in. You can also go to the student tab and invite and search for them here and send them an invite email. Under the About tab, you can actually invite another teacher. If you have a co-teacher in your class that you want to help out, you can send that to them from there. So let's go back to the stream. So your stream works very much like a social media feed in that what you post today will end up being below what you post tomorrow because the newest stuff is always on top. So it's just something to keep in mind. You can bump a post back to the top, but there's no edit feature where you can just quickly reorganize them in the order that you want. So I'm going to click the plus sign down here. This is how I add something to my classroom. I have 4 options: reuse post, create question, create assignment, and create announcement. So if I start with reuse post, this is actually really nice. It pulls up every class that I have taught before, even if that class is archived. And I can actually pick one of those classes and pick an assignment from them to assign to this class. And so it pulls everything over. I can make any changes I need here to the due date. It always sets it for the next day, but I can make any changes that I need here and then click assign, and it's just going to do that right for me. So if you have a Google Classroom this year and then next year, you can just archive it, and then you can still pull the information from them without having to start from scratch. So the next option we'll talk about is create a question. So this is just a quick bell ringer. However, whatever you want to use it for. But this is just going to be a way for your students to answer really quickly and not have to do something outside of classroom and then turn it in. So when you do a question, again, you have due date and you can set the time if you would like. You have toggle switches for students can reply to each other and students can edit their answers. So you can do whatever you want to that. And then with everything that you post, you've got 4 options here. The first one, this paperclip, is just to upload a file, just like you would to email. The next one is to embed a Google Drive file. The next one is to embed a YouTube video. And the next is just to attach a link. So you can do none of those. You can do one of those. You can do one of each of those. You can do several of each of those. So whatever you need to do to get this information out to your kids. And also, if you teach several sections of the same class, you can actually assign the same assignment to both classes at the same time. So I'm going to click ask. And so you'll see that the question is here. And then if I go back to this sample class, you'll see that the question is here also. So you only have to do the work one time. The next thing I'll talk about is an announcement. So this is just a really quick way for you to remind your kids about something. Again, you can still attach anything that you need, a study guide or whatever. And again, you can assign to more than one class, and then you can just click post. So another thing that you can actually do is get some posts done ahead of time, but don't actually post them yet. So let's say that I'm going to create a question to use on Monday. I don't know why I capitalized sports. So let's say I want to ask this on Monday. So what I'm going to do right now is just save this as a draft, and it's just going to hang out right up here at the top. And then on Monday when I come in, I can click draft, click it, and then click ask, and it'll push it out to the kids. So you can do some work ahead of time and kind of save it in a place where the kids can't see it. The last thing is create an assignment, and this is where I think the power of Google Classroom is. So let's say I want my kids to write a haiku poem, and I'm going to say that it's due in 2 weeks. And let's say I want to put a YouTube video with it, and I don't remember the URL, but I'll know it when I see it. So let me look. And, oh, this is the one. So I'm going to click add. So you can search for YouTube videos right in there. And then what I've actually done is I have a template for haiku poetry. So I'm going to search for that. It's called Haiku Assignment. And I'm going to add that. And now I've got some options that'll look a little familiar to you if you know your Google Docs. And so I've got students can view, edit, or make a copy for each student. So students can view will mean students cannot make any changes to this document, meaning they will have to either make a copy of the document or download it as a Word document and then upload the assignment back to you. Students can edit file means every one of your students is going to be editing one single file. Sometimes that might be appropriate, but probably not always. And the last one is make a copy for each student. And the reason I like that is because it's going to take this assignment, haiku assignment, and name it haiku assignment dash the student's first name and last name. And then actually there's a way that you can watch your students work while they're doing that. So whether you're in the front of the classroom and your students are working, or if you're snowed in at your house on an NTI day and your students are working, you can kind of watch and see what's going on in there. So if I click assign, it's going to push that out to each kid. Each student will get a copy. So if I had students in here, then I can go to the assignment and be able to see kids as they're typing, because the students have ownership of the file, but inherently, if they create it in your Google Classroom, you also have rights to the file. And then when they turn it into you, they lose their edit rights. So once it's turned in, they can't edit it unless they undo the turn in feature, which is an option. And then they can change it and send it back to you. But if you want to grade your students' work, you can do that in here also. If you click you can click the students. Of course, I don't have any. But if I click this assignment title, then I'll be able to see them. And then I can also put grades in for the kids. If I click, so it'll tell you how many people are done and not done. And then the default grading scale is like 1 point, or I think 10 points, 50 points, 100 points. But if you're doing something like standards-based grading, you can actually change the grading scale by just typing the number that you want it to be worth and put the student scores in that way. It doesn't talk to Infinite Campus, so you would have to actually enter them in Infinite Campus at a later time. But it will send students emails with their scores after you score them. And then from the home page, your students will see and you will see what you have due soon. So your students have these 2 questions due soon, and then because I assigned that 1 question to this class, the students in this class have this due also. So your students can kind of keep up on their homepage what they have due tomorrow. So it's just a really quick overview of Google Classroom. I hope that helped you be able to learn some of the basics.